Polkadot is what you can call an internet of blockchains.
The majority of people think that you can only build on Polkadot by being a parachain. This isn't true at all.
When folks start building on, A-Star or Moonbeam, I think one of the things we do talk about is it's a good place for them to start.
All right, so let's start a little bit high level. Dieter, what are the different ways to build on Polkadot?
Yeah, this is a great question. And so, I like, Luis, that you brought up in the beginning that this is an often misunderstood thing. The majority of people think that you can only build on Polkadot by being a parachain. This isn't true at all, because again, when you think of what Polkadot actually is, it is very much a collection of parachains, which are layer one blockchains in and of themselves. Like Astar and Moonbeam are very great examples of this. And typically the path for an application developer or anyone who wants to build anything, they typically do not need to build a parachain. Typically it probably makes more sense for them to build on an existing parachain. This comes down basically to the fact that most developers do not need the flexibility and throughput that having a whole parachain will provide. And actually they can get a much better user experience and a much simpler development environment by simply choosing a parachain that makes sense for them. Just to throw out some examples, if you're an application developer from Ethereum and you've already built this application on Ethereum, then building on Moonbeam, Astar, or any parachain that supports Ethereum-based application development makes way more sense than building your own parachain. There's other ways to look at it. Like if you're really focusing on DeFi and the DeFi primitives that Acala is developing on their parachain help you leverage like building your application. For those of you that don't know, Acala is one of the DeFi-focused parachains building on Polkadot. Then this can be a great path for you. So there's other ways, like there's a concept of parathreads, which are pay-as-you-go parachains. I won't get into them here, but really, like you only need to build a parachain if you want to build your own layer one blockchain, and that's the only way it makes sense for you to build your solution, which I think is a minority of actual cases.
Yes, thank you, Dieter. And I think maybe if we enumerate, just for everyone to know, like those different ways to build on Polkadot. So you can build a parachain. You also mentioned parathreads, something that we will have in the future, but I think they're also building on top of someone. And there's even, you can have your own substrate chain, right? So that's also something.
Yeah, well, that I wouldn't call that building on Polkadot, to be quite honest, because you can have a standalone substrate-based chain, but then that doesn't have too much to do with Polkadot unless you connect it to Polkadot as a parachain in the future. But that's also an option.
Right, thank you very much. Sota, Astar recently won a Polkadot parachain, actually. So how was the process? How does it work with the crowd loan?
Yeah, crowd loan was a little bit difficult for us because many people do not understand how it works. And we have created an incentivized scheme for retail people to join earlier because the crowd loan and the auction is like a candle auction. So we need dots as early as possible. So we incentivize people to join our crowd loan earlier. Actually, it is really tough to explain our strategy to retail people, and a lot of the people join later. So this is one of the tough things. And also, crowd loan is sort of a well game right now, in some sense. So the data shows that the whale decided the winner. So we need a clear incentive for whales, dot whales. But we would like to create Polkadot for people, not for specific entities. So I think there are a lot of the room and a lot of the spaces we have to improve. And we learned a lot through Kusama Parachain auction and Polkadot Parachain auction. So our team is going to submit improved proposal to Web3 Foundation in coming weeks.
Thank you very much. Anything to add here, Nate, as well? Of course, Moonbeam also won one of the few Parachain slots for Polkadot.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a pretty novel new concept, and so sometimes people can get kind of lost when there's so many different terms in terms of coming into the Polkadot ecosystem. But really, it's a way for teams to enable folks to help bootstrap kind of a lease into the Polkadot ecosystem for the Parachain. And so, there's incentives on top of that everyone kind of curates their own incentives back to the users to help, contribute to this slot. So I think as time goes on and as more and more of these crowd loans kind of go on, I think the term crowd loan will become more and more widely adopted and known. And so I think it's everybody should check it out and see what's going on. I think it is really pretty amazing what's going on in the Polkadot and Kusama ecosystems right now.
And by the way, Nate and also Aster, congratulations for getting.
Yeah, thank you very much.
It
was huge for all of us. It was huge for Moonbeam. It was huge for A-Star. This is a day one, so we have a lot of the things we have to improve. But I think we can make it.
Awesome. So now you have the Parachain slot, and that's going to go for almost 2 years. And you're actually looking for people that can build in your blockchains right now. So Nate, what are the benefits for projects to build on top of Moonbeam?
Sure. So, the real ethos of Polkadot is specialization, right? And so these parachains that can kind of focus on certain things. And we kind of took a very pragmatic approach when thinking about building Moonbeam in terms of, there are so many Solidity developers out there, and that was really the standard that everyone in crypto knew how to work with. And so providing this general purpose smart contract platform that focuses on the EVM really gives folks kind of an easy on-ramp into the Polkadot ecosystem. And so, for us, it's really continuing to focus on, adding the tooling and infrastructure around the EVM that folks know and want to be able to use. And then Dieter kind of talked a lot about some of the benefits of just being in the Polkadot ecosystem. You can start leveraging, all the other parachains that will be coming online, and what cool use cases can kind of come from that. Those are some of the things that we really tend to focus on when talking to other teams. And one last point that I think maybe Dieter undersold, that when folks start building on A-Star or Moonbeam, I think one of the things we do talk about is it's a good place for them to start. So ultimately, we would love to see some of the teams that are building on our parachains to go become their own parachain, because that's going to continue to add value to the ecosystem. But sometimes it is kind of a daunting task to build your own blockchain. You need Rust engineers. You need to think about a lot of low-lying infrastructure that you'll need to stand up and maintain, and there's just a lot that goes into it. But for the short term, giving them somewhere to build for the now makes a lot of sense. And so we want to build this amazing ecosystem, but at the same time, we'd love to see some of the teams that are building go on and build their own blockchain, because that's just going to continue to add value to the ecosystem.